All right, and Eric, you had a comment. Yeah, you had a comment.
Yeah. It seemed like this was a season of underdogs, and I almost feel like how Daniel said it was too early. I almost think it was too late because if you think about it, if I didn't have vote like Jeff off, everybody would have looked at those four as an extremely strong threat, and I think even if I went against Chris, Cody, Robbie, they would have been so dumb to flip. I really think they still would have noticed, hey, those are a group of four. Let's continue to get them out. So if you think about it, I mean, you can go either way with is it too early, it's too late. I almost I think it would have been nice to see if we had kept those four together. Would people like Chris, Cody, Robbie, would they have sided with them to take out myself and Nicole, or would they have sided with us to take out the four of them? So I mean, saying it's too early, I don't necessarily want to say I agree with that because it could
I don't
really
think
go
there's a
either
right or
way.
wrong answer to that. It really depends on, the dynamics of the tribe, who trusted who, etc.
Ultimately, it was a game of underdogs. Whoever was the underdog, people were going to go to them no matter
Exactly,
what.
exactly. Because if you weren't on the bottom one round, the round after you were probably on the bottom and you were probably the most valuable person in the game. But
Exactly.
just because you were valuable that one round doesn't mean you were not getting voted out the round after. The only person who can say that they didn't go from top to bottom or minority to majority is Aaron. He was in the middle the
Definitely.
entire time. Okay, well
Okay,
with
that's
that, Nicole, do you remember what Daniel just said about how that it was you guys made your move against Robbie or the Chikara Boys one round too soon. Miss Nicole, do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I disagree. I think I have been wanting to make a move against them for oh my god, the whole game.
Since
I mean, we
Dylan was
saw them
voted
in
out.
Nationals. Yeah, ever since Dylan left, I was like, I need to get one of them out. And I don't think it was too early or because if we wait another round, it's gonna be too late. I think. Um, this whole game was that was my whole mission to get the Chikara boys out, and it really was. And I was just glad to finally do it. And I was even gonna flip the round earlier just by myself.
You were
Um,
actually gonna try to do that when Guinea was voted out, but their numbers were just not there.
yeah, I was trying to do it every single round. So it was just a matter of that was the round that people were finally like, okay, fine, I'll flip with you. So yeah.
Now, Nicole, um, you have one of my favorite storylines this entire season, but I think that I'm biased because for a homosexual male, I have this weird obsession with you. I don't even know why. Because no
Oh my
offense,
god.
I feel like all the other alumni who watched India or played India would say the same. It's kind of true. I don't really have a reason to be this obsessed with you with how you played India, strictly on how you played. I shouldn't have this Nicola obsession because granted, I loved you in India, but you didn't play this flawless, fantastic game that Sandy needs to be obsessed with this great ICR game player because that you were not in India. But I
Yeah.
think that's why I loved your storyline so much is because this season going in, everybody was like, oh, underwhelmed when they realized you were the only person from the most recent I Survivor season taking part. They were like, oh, okay, good call, Sandy. Dot dot dot. But just like I knew would happen, you impressed and kicked ass, and we saw this whole side of you. Or it honestly, I don't even think it's the whole side of you, Nicole. I think is we finally saw you. We finally saw. I don't know everything that you are and can bring to a Survivor game without you know Ricky taking the spotlight and directing you and steering you. It was awesome to be able to see you drive be behind the wheel yourself. And I think that's what intrigued me the most is like, oh, Nicole's doing this without Ricky. Oh, yes, Nicole, yes, Nicole. And you didn't disappoint at all, at all. And no offense to Dylan, I love you, Dylan, but I don't know. I think somebody mentioned this somewhere, but I think that it was a blessing in disguise that Dylan got voted out so early because whether you knew it or not, and it's not exactly the same situation, but I think whether you knew it or not, you were slowly turning not into the same Nicole, but you it was the story was kind of sounding sort of similar with here's Nicole has her number one ally and it's a very strong powerhouse male and I just didn't want that to be a stigma going forward and it could have had Dylan not gotten voted out right then and there you and Dylan could have easily been the Sassy and Samantha. Do you know what I mean? This duo that everybody had to take out. So I'm just glad that I was able to watch you play without something like that happening. And even when you were close with Eric, I didn't see Eric as a Dylan or as a Ricky. It still was like Nicole is her own player, and she's it was just awesome. I'm gonna go on forever talking about how great you are, but yeah,
You're welcome, Nicole.
yeah, for
No,
for
Cody.
voting out Dylan, right? What do you have to say for yourself about and this compared to this season to that to India?
Oh, a lot, I guess. I just feel like India, I played after I just played another game, so I was really worn out from that. And I feel like that's why I didn't try very hard. Um, and then this season, like, I came in, and I didn't think I was going to be cast, because, like, let's be real, I didn't even consider myself a favorite. Because I was like, I played, like, the shittiest game in India. And then when I was cast, it was just, like, really shocking, and I was kind of, I had to prove something to myself and to everyone else who watched me play India, because I know I am a good player. I just think, that is what drove me in the season to do so well and to be my own person. And it was exciting, like, trying to prove myself. Yeah.
What do you have to say to all of your India fellow alumni who are sitting here in this call right now who've watched you play this game? Animal, Jermaine, Zach, Woods, they all watched you play. What do you have to say to them?
I don't know. I mean, I just think that I'm excited that they got to see a new side of me. And they kept saying in India, like that one round that that huge argument blew up, and then they were like, Nicole, finally we see your personality and like all this stuff. And I'm glad they got to see my personality without me having to get into a huge fight with people. And I'm glad like they can see this different side of me. And I have become like closer with some of them now that they've watched me play.
Definitely. I definitely know you changed pretty much every single person's opinion who played with you last season. So that's awesome. Because, like I said, a lot of people who play a second time in Ice Survivor come back and they're just wet noodles. They're nothing like they were or what made me fall in love with them the first time around. And with you, completely opposite. You made me fall in love with you that much more. You played a very strong game. I can't really say many errors. I mean, you maybe had some lapse of judgments or didn't make the greatest move here and there, but overall, I think you played a very solid, strong game. Hence, why you are our Glory Spot champion of the season. But is there one instance or anything that sticks out in your mind as like, ah, fuck, that was a blunder?
I can honestly I don't really think so. In my eyes, at least, I think I played a really good game. There's probably a few things I could have done here and there, but I don't really regret any of the decisions I made. I guess maybe final 8, I could have done a little more convincing to Cody and Chris, because I do think they were close to flipping with me that round. So I kind of wish I, grew my relationship with them, around final 10 or something and kept talking to them, because I didn't have much of a relationship with Cody. So, but I would say that's probably it. But even if they did flip, I don't think I would have made it that far with Cody still in the game, because we were like arch nemesis. He was my arch nemesis.
Nicole, any regrets like using your idol that one round when you didn't need it, using that express pass at the final 6? Do you regret using those powers? Because you potentially, if you used it correctly, you could have been in the final 4.
Yeah, I don't really regret it, because at final 6, I didn't think I was gonna go home because I had no pass votes and it could have tied 3-3, and they weren't gonna vote for me if I had no pass votes. So even if Aaron did flip, it probably wouldn't be on me. But I felt like I still had the idol and the express pass at that point. Or did I? Yeah, no. Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. I don't remember. And then kind of, no,
wait, no, you didn't.
No, you used the idol when Sassy was voted out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the round before.
So, yeah, at final 6, I debating about my Express Pass, but I figured that, like, this game's been changing every single round, and people could see me as a huge threat because I had that Express Pass, and because they would know I was going to Final Four, so they could get me out. I'm sure, like, maybe Chris would have even voted for me at that point or whatever, so I figured better safe than sorry.
Heard.
Yeah.
Well, is there any last words or anything you want to say to the cast, crew, alumni before we move on to the Final Four?
I'll just say that I had so much fun playing this season, and it is like a total 360 from India. I just had so much fun because I don't know, it's one of the better org experience I've had, and I met so many cool people, and there's no one I don't like in this cast. And I think that's definitely like just exciting for me, and I love that you gave me the opportunity to play a second season, even though I probably didn't deserve it from India, but I'm really glad I got the opportunity.
Don't worry, I casted Andy and Bridget in All Stars, and Andy got 14th in her first season. Bridget got 12th. So, if they can be in an All Star season, I'm pretty sure somebody who got 10th place could be in a Fans versus Favorite season. And with that being said, Nicole, you definitely are one of the very few people who come back, kick ass, and do better than their first time. And you're one of the favorites who definitely will be in consideration for playing in All Stars 3 from this season. I could not even not consider you. Anyway, love you, Nicole. Thank you so much for playing, and I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
Glory Spot, full life. Craig.
Hey.
How's your pups?
He's not here right now, actually.
Well, Craig, Gabe was the youngest person in the cast. He was voted out first. You're the second youngest person in the cast. You made it to 4th place. What do you think sets you apart from Gabe that allowed you to go so far on him to not go far at all?
Well, I don't know how Gabe plays, so I can't make an assumption against him.
I heard
think
Gabe
I
was
would
making
win my
alliances with
tribe.
palm trees at the beach at his camp.
I'm sorry?
You just said you don't know how Gabe plays the game, and I said I heard that he was making alliances with all the trees back at his camp. So, a little insight on his gameplay.
Well, I mean, even making alliances with everyone could work depending on your tribe. I was lucky enough to be with Sammy and Billy, and early on in Yubu, and Jose too. I liked Jose, and it was a good tribe, and I was lucky to be in it because obviously it propelled me to get to where I got. So.
Mr. Craig, what was the highlight of the game for you? Why the fuck was Andrew Gibson added in here?
I don't know. The best part of the game, that's tough. When I won my one immunity after being on the tribe that won like nothing, it was very self-rewarding. It was like going from like I started from the bottom, now I'm here kind of thing going. So
you really did have a full spectrum experience in iSurvivor, like on a shitty Yubu tribe. Similar story to Sammy, shitty Aboriginal tribe, down in numbers at the shuffle, things just not going your way at all for like the first 30 days of the game. Then the home stretch is when like you end up in the right position, you're talking to the right person, then bam, you're in the Final Four. Definitely didn't expect you to make it there. Did you expect to make it there?
No, not at all. When I merged, well, I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't expect to make it to the Final Four. I thought I was perceived as non-threatening, and I think that really helped me when I merged. Out of everyone on the Koji Yubu tribe, I felt like I was the least, everyone was overlooking me and looking at Sammy and Sassy and sadly Billy. And I benefited. I did not intend for that, but I kind of noticed that happening.
What?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking of a question. Craig, what's been this highlight? What's the highlight of this experience for you?
Oh, I thought you already asked.
Did I already ask that? Damn it! I was. That's what I get for. No, totally. That's what I get for. I'm like, I can't do 20 things at once, and I can't do two things at once, and that's what I get for looking over at Kieran's IM, because like I totally in the 10 seconds it took me to go to her IM, read it, I had completely forgot who I was talking to, completely forgot what I asked, and then yeah, sorry, Craig.
No problem. Oh, no problem. It's fine.
He's got to be used to it by now, Sandy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I
I
mean,
didn't forget
You can only
him
take
though.
it so much.
Hold on, let me just read this IM from Kieran before I decide to ask another question and forget.
Take your time.
Okay. Don't tell me it's taking too long, Kieran. I'll go as long as I want.
I didn't say that.
Oh, anyway. Craig, what do you think it was about you that made you that third perfect fit into what is my favorite alliance of like third generation? What made you fit into the dog pack opposed to Jamie, Matt, and Jose?
Well, Matt was kind of online when no one else was in the dead of night. That alone kind of set us apart. I had actually known Billy from a previous game, and I gave Sammy so much beef for knowing Aaron from a previous game.
I love how all of these lies are coming out.
Billy and I was in this Alias game, so he and I kind of connected right off the bat from that. And then Sammy was just an easy person to talk to, and made a quick 3. And the whole thing about it was, I guess, first impressions. But
that was totally it, because your guys' alliance was started literally in like the first day. Well, I just want to mention, I don't really have a question about this, but I just want to say to people who don't know, but the best and most awesome alliance in this entire game was the Homeward Bound alliance. Now, Samantha, Billy, and Craig were known as the Dog Pack, and if anybody's ever seen the Homeward Bound movie, it's about 2 dogs who talk and a cat who talks.
Oh my God.
And then once they met up with Sassy and they formed a friendship, they became the Homeward Bound alliance. And then once Billy got voted out, it was like really Homeward Bound. It was like 2 dogs and a cat left, and it was just funny. Love it. Love the Homeward Bound alliance. Okay. Craig, was there a point at all during the game? I know you toyed about it in your confessional, but like, if people came to you and the stars seemed to align, would you have gotten rid of Samantha?
Actually, at Final 6, I was almost sure that Samantha was gone. Like, I would have bet money on it, no offense, Sammy, but I was almost certain it was going to happen. I didn't want it to happen. Maybe it would have held my game if it did happen, but I was almost nearly positive that that was going to happen. And my plan after that was to really work my way in with Aaron and Daniel and talk to them. Because I still had not wanted an individual immunity challenge at that point, or maybe even a tribal immunity challenge. Maybe one tribal immunity challenge. So I kind of would have pitched, I'm not going to win Final 3. And I mean, it was a hope. And it was just planning, and it didn't end up happening. And was it good? I think Sammy deserves everything she got, like, in this game, and she played so well. So for that to happen to her was just kind of the icing on the cake. I'm sorry, Daniel, but that was the pivotal round for her to win this game. She played it off very well.
Mr. Craig, any one big regret before I move on to Mr. Chris?
I guess being better at puzzles.
How far were you in that puzzle?
Not far. I was only I finished it after you were done because I was moody about it. I was only like 30 seconds away from finishing it, but I had to get the whole middle. I was working on like the outside, I guess.
Oh.
Chris,
Hello, hello.
how are you?
I'm good. I just made coffee to stay awake.
We're almost done, buddy. Do you think just as easily as Sammy made the finals and swept 8 of the 9 votes, do you think that could just as easily been you had you lasted the 19 hours and she lasted 9 hours in that final challenge?
From the reaction of like the jury after I got in there, yes. But when I was in the game, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I would have won. But like the reaction of the jury, definitely, I think I could have won.
Jury, by a show of who's still here, who would have voted Chris over Samantha if that was the final two, not taking into account any questions? Sassy, what did you voted? Cody, would you have voted Chris or Sammy?
100% Chris.
Sassy.
Sammy.
Jeffrey.
I was like 60% over to Chris.
Eric.
I would have voted Aaron over Chris, and I would have voted for Sammy over Chris.
Oh shit. Nicole. Nicole, who would you voted?
Chris.
Craig, who would you have voted?
Sammy.
And I think Robbie would have probably voted for Chris. So is it safe? Daniel, who would you voted? Did Daniel leave? Yeah. Okay, so I think it might be safe to say that Chris would have won against Sammy.
Yeah, I think it would have been a tough one because the question Sammy answered really, really well though. So
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
she
Well,
definitely had a shot.
loosely, right now, I'm saying Chris would have won. But so I mean, Sammy, good job on that $1 million decision, honey.
She
And
said
then
I am just saying I called it.
and randomly, Billy, who
No,
would you vote?
okay.
Oh, hi,
Can I
Sassy.
just say something
Yeah,
really
hi,
quick
Samantha.
about a big reason why I might not have conveyed this the best when I was voting for Chris and like giving my reasoning, but Chris was right in there with Nicole and Daniel saying that I was going to win the game. If he had gotten to the end with me, like it wasn't the same situation with Aaron, where Aaron repeatedly made decisions to keep me in the game. Chris repeatedly tried to get me out. They had no reason to hold him being in the end against him. So I always knew that he was going to have Chris. I always knew he was going to have Cody. I always knew he was going to have Robbie. I knew he'd have Nicole and Daniel for that reason. And I really wasn't sure where Jeffrey stood. So, because Jeffrey told me when he left that he wouldn't vote for me. So, I mean...
Jeffrey's so bitter.
I was so pissed. I'm sorry.
You were. And then as soon as...
I knew 100% that Chris would wipe the floor with me. Like, there was no doubt in my mind. Because I had no... Like, I knew I'd get Craig's vote. I knew I'd get Sassy's vote. And that was pretty much it. That's kind of how I felt. And then I guess I would have gotten Eric's vote too, but I wasn't going to count that vote. So, I mean, it might have been the nobler choice and the, like, take the best to be the best. But honestly, I think I had about a snowball's chance in hell of beating you, Chris. So, you were the one to beat in that final challenge. And you were amazing.
Mr. Chris, how do you think you were able to last all the way to the final 3 after your 2 strongest allies left the game within like 48 hours? Or actually, like 3 people from your original tribe left
like,
the game
the 3
within
people I
like
was
48
closest
hours.
with too. Like, even though Eric, there's probably that like rockiness. Like I felt like we were close. So it was hard. All 3 of them in a row. I think after like Robbie left, I tried to approach Sammy and Sassy, just act like really hurt based off what like Eric did. So I think I just kept trying. I never stopped giving up, especially after Cody left too. I never gave up. I still talked to Sammy and Sassy even though I didn't vote with them afterwards. Like I just kept talking.
Sorry. Alan, stop talking to me. You are distracting me. Okay, I'm done. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
So, let's rewind time back to the start of this game. You were on the Chikara tribe. What was your favorite memory from those first 3 rounds of the whole 4 tribe scenario? What was the highlight of that era?
I think probably Sherry Martinez for many reasons for all of us, but also like the Robbie thing. Like I never thought I would like Robbie because I went in thinking I was gonna hate him again, but forming a bond with Robbie was huge for me at the beginning of Chikara. But Sherry Martinez was amazing too.
What was the most difficult thing for you in this game, other than losing Sherry?
other than losing Sherry, what was the most difficult thing? I think definitely losing Robbie, Cody, and Eric, and then also Eric not talking to me after Robbie left. That was hard, just because on a personal level, I felt like we talked every day. Yeah, that was really hard. I think those 3 rounds back to back to back.
Is there a single moment, move, round in this game that you can attribute to you getting third place? Or is it like a series of choices and decisions that got you
I
here?
think it was a series of choices just to try to stay close to people, and then also as like I lied to people, I would still go back and talk to them, like, and never kind of like ruin a relationship as much as possible. Like I always tried to keep somewhat of a conversation going, even if, like, aside from like when we first entered Merge, I like never talked to Sassy or Sammy, but like after Robbie left, I felt like I always kept communication open regardless of who I voted for the previous round. I think that was huge, especially in the end game, to still have conversations open. Like I never completely closed off from somebody.
And that's not that you should have mentioned that. That's something that I love about you, Chris. And I think this is sort of a point that I was trying to make about the type of player that Jeffrey is or how he played this game. And this is like I feel like completely opposite of how you played. And this is what I appreciated so much about you. That despite how divided this game seemed to be and how tight alliances were because of the original tribes and the Katana Challenge and all that shit, it's like you were in your strong Chikara alliance with Robbie and Cody, but at the same time, throughout that, however committed you really were to those two, you always had like the wheels. Jeddah, can you mute? Sorry, buddy. Can you mute for a second? Jeddah, thanks. But like you always kept your not options open because it's not like you were trying to waiting for something better to come along to replace Robbie and Cody, but you always still had like that. This is I joined this game alone. I'm playing. There's only going to be one winner, and you always still like just maintain this like other side of the highway that you could still turn on to if the path you were on right now, like I don't know, something happened. And I just admire that about you because out of a lot of people in the cast, you like had your loyalties and you didn't come across as a disloyal person, but at the same time, you still played the game for yourself with your own agendas and your own plans. And like Sassy and Jeffrey and some other people in the game, you really didn't see a lot of that, like multifaceted strategist type of player. So with that being said, I love that about you, and I'm glad you lasted so long because just being able to watch a player like that for a long time and just to see them be successful at what they do, just like awesome.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people like that. Like I tried to stay close to Debbie, and me and Cody weren't like thinking of betraying Debbie, but we had to keep that option open. We had like Billy. I had Eric for a while. I really wanted to keep that option open. I kept like playing back and forth if I wanted to go with Eric or Robbie and Cody, and I always like leaned on Robbie and Cody, but I always kept that option open.
Exactly, and that's what I was actually thinking of as I was saying this, is that like your whole keeping Eric on the side, and if you needed to, form a gameplay around your tightness with him and wherever it led you, if that and then that's what you were gonna do if that's what it came down to. And I feel like having just these multiple routes you could have taken, and you always just knew that and kept it at the front of your mind that I love Cody and Robbie. They're my two homeboys, but I'm still playing this game and I still have other strategies running through my mind. I appreciate that about you.
I think it speaks volumes for him. Sorry, I'll just butt in for a second.
Yeah.
When I was voted out, not that I'm that great of a player, or that Chris and I together were that great of a team, but when I was voted out, I just automatically assumed I'm like, okay, well Chris will be next, and I think it speaks volumes for him that he wasn't next, and he wasn't next after that, and
Exactly, exactly, and that's what makes this game so fun, and that's what makes me being gets me obsessed with hosting. Is shit like that happens. It's like
it's so unpredictable. Like every single round, I know people.
Like the merge came, Billy got blindsided. This season was amazing, and it has to do with every single one of you, from Dylan to Jose to Gabe to Nicole to our winner Samantha. Chris, is there anything that you want to say to this jury production? Any people you voted off? Anything that you want to say?
I think I said a lot of it already, like over and over towards the end in those videos that kept on going on and on. But I love this game, obviously. To go based off what Cody said, I think me and you were like an awesome team. Like the way that we handled the Billy, Kelman, and Debbie thing, and then also after Robbie left, how we got like them to go after Eric. And I mentioned that, and I think if I write a passage with you, like we took it from two completely different angles. Like I was like emotionally sad about Eric, but then you were like all logical and everything. I hope you see that because I thought it was amazing. I thought we worked really well together, even after Robbie left.
Absolutely. Awesome team.
Alrighty.
Yes, I thought so too.
Guys, Cody, Chris, Sassy, Gabe, Tyler, Billy, Dylan, Jose, Debbie, Jeffrey, Nicole, Eric, and my co-host Kieran. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything that you have put into this game since the start of this new year. iSurvivor would not be where we are today, as successful as we are today, if it weren't for the people who love Survivor, who apply to it, and who put their time and energy and take time out of their everyday life to be active. A lot of discussions tonight talked about activity of this cast, and that's what made this season so great. And just activity and is the reason why iSurvivor is still around. Like, we wouldn't be here if people didn't want to play the game and didn't show me that they cared and enjoyed it. So, just thank you so much. Again, none of this would be going on if it weren't for you guys, and to my cast, and to my alumni, and everybody who made Streamails and helped out with this season. Like, we're still going strong in it, and it's just so awesome that I have this community who loves Survivor and enjoys it as much as I do. Now, let me quickly just touch base with Miss Samantha. Sammy, I love you, but I'm not going to be drilling questions your way. You still have an iSurvivor Live interview for that, so I'm going to let Kieran save all the good questions.
Of course.
But I did want to congratulate you on your 8-1 victory.
Thank you.
You've put in so much, I know. How much time and energy that you put in. Granted, I don't know like all the classes you skipped and all the lack of hours of sleep you lost, but I do know.
I think I'm still gonna get into law school.
Good.
But
Go get that firm that you want, honey.
Iffy.
I just want to say thank you, Samantha. My
Yeah,
decision,
thank you.
whoever recruited you, Cody, Kieran, whoever it was, thank you. Thank you. This season, I will always look back, and the first person I'm going to think of is Samantha. You rocked it from start to finish. Your story, everything. Fucking amazing. I love you, and again, congratulations. That win
Thank
was
you.
completely deserved. Welcome to the iSurvivor family. You are an iSurvivor champion. Congrats.
Thank you.
And to everybody, thank you. And that is what I call a wrap.
Sad.
And to my dearest co-host. Oh, wait. I just want to say one last thing to my dearest co-host. Literally, none of this would be possible without Kieran. This season probably wouldn't have taken place without Kieran. Back in November, she's like, Sandy, you really should start thinking of twists. Sandy, you really should start posting challenges. And in my mind, I'm like, am I really hosting another one of these games? But she like fed the fire. None of this would be been able to happen without her. She's the one who got everybody, on Skype for the auditions. She made sure that I was on the ball. She's happy. Everything that I forget as a host, Kieran's there to remember. Everything that I drop, Kieran's there to pick up. Anybody I cuss out, Kieran's there to wipe their tears. So like, this season, I know Kieran made it more fun for you guys as a cast, because like, I wasn't on Skype all the time. Kieran was always the easiest person to go to and, gripe or ask a question and just... So I know she made this experience for you guys as much as the game itself. So everybody please give Kieran a complete round of applause and a thank you. Because without Kieran, season 21,
I love you, Kieran.
it wouldn't have...
Honest, queen. Yeah.
Thanks for letting me help out so much.
No, Kieran, thank you. You're probably the best co-host I've ever had. You can tell Tucker that. But you surpassed Joel, you surpassed Brittany, you surpassed Corey. But you definitely, this season would have wouldn't have been so enjoyable. I mean, I probably would have loved watching it just as much, but in terms of bringing it to life, Kieran, we did it together. I couldn't have done it without you. So we'll look back on this awesome season and know that we did it together. So high five.
Especially that one round.
Oh
Your
yeah,
mom
that
called
one round
me.
where I was incarcerated and I was on quote unquote vacation. I'm like in prison and I'm like, Mom. I call her from jail. I'm like, Mom. She's like, what? I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. She's like, Sammy, you're gonna be out of there. You gotta wait 24 hours. And I was like, Mom, you need to call Kieran and tell her I'm not gonna be out of here till tomorrow night. She needs to host my game. And my mom's like,
When was this? What round was that?
It
The-
was the scavenger
the
hunt
scavenger
round. And
hunt
everyone's like, Kieran,
round.
you've been taking control of this round.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah,
And
cause
I was like, oh yeah, Sandy's on vacation.
I
but
was
he
on
in jail
vacation because
with his
Kieran didn't know how long I was gonna be in county. So yeah, thanks Kieran for handling the game while I was incarcerated. I love you, mean it.
Why were you in jail?
Um,
I'm kind of curious.
I was woken up out of my sleep and my mom and my dad were fighting and my dad called my mom cunt and so I like banged on the door and I was like, Mom, you better tell that guy to stop cussing at you and he didn't, so like I just went crazy and started bashing his face in.
Oh, God.
Which, you know, keep your hands to yourself, guys. Hands are for loving, not for fighting. Unless your dad verbally abuses your mom, in which case I give you permission to beat the fuck out of him. Yeah, but then the cops came and I'm like,
Great, though.
and the cops came and I'm like, well, my mom called the cops because like my dad and I started fighting, but she called the cops because like she was scared I was getting my ass kicked. But then I walk out of my room and my mom's like, wow. He got his ass kicked. And then the cops come and arrest me. I'm like, dude, I'm a skinny gay guy. I was just, you know, defending my mom from being yelled at. And the cops like, no, you clearly whooped his ass. And on domestic disputes, we totally have to bring in whoever looks the worst. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm going to jail right now? You gotta be kidding me. Anyway, yeah. Crazy.
Well, before we hang up, do you want to reveal the player of the season? They were asking about that.
Sure.
Or
Okay.
do you want me to?
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, you're already there, probably. I got.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, this is very unusual for iSurvivor, but there's actually a three-way tie. So, I'll reveal fourth place, and then I'll reveal the three-way
Wait,
tie.
Karen, can I just vote verbally right now?
You can go vote super quick.
Joe, you've had 7 days to vote in this
No.
fucking poll.
Oh my gosh, no.
It's gonna be the sole vote
I was
right
gonna,
here.
don't make me pull
Okay,
a
I'll
Jeffrey
do
on here.
fifth place, fourth place, and then I'll do the three-way tie. Okay. Okay, so fifth place was Chris. Fourth place was Eric. And then the three winners are Nicole, Sammy, and Sassy.
Oh my god.
Good job.
Okay.
Good
So,
job, guys.
congratulations. This is definitely iSurvivor History 3 fan favorites. And I was like refreshing the results like through the whole finale, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. This
And
is
I done
actually happening,
spammed people to
so.
try to break up that goddamn tie because we all know how much I hate ties, and that didn't
Yeah.
work either.
I kind of like it though. I think it's really adorable.
All right, wait,
And
everybody.
so Nicole helps keeps the trend of a gory spot person has one fan favorite every season, so that trend stays
I
alive.
was so nervous. I was like, I might like upset Tom by not winning.
Does anybody have anything last to say before we stop this recording? I'll keep the call on, but anybody have anything that they want to say before we